Hi everybody, welcome back. It's Brad from bradnewton.tv. Let's talk about how much muscle you can naturally grow without steroids if you follow this course. In other words, if you do those things I talked about earlier, get enough protein, enough calorie surplus, heavy compound weightlifting, which I talk about how to do, what exercises to do, and how to do the heavy compound weightlifting in this course. If you do all of that, then you should expect to build a certain amount of muscle every week, every month, and for the first 12 months, I'm going to talk about what you should expect, realistically, what you should expect. Now, I wish I had this when I first started my training years and years and years ago. I was going off magazines which claimed that you could build 30 pounds of muscle in 1 month, like literally a pound of muscle every day. Like, you can't even do that on steroids, right? So, but it's important that if you're doing your training, it's important, I believe, that you have an idea of what you should expect to achieve. Like, if you're going in the gym doing the hard work, you're not going to see instant results. And because you're not going to see instant results, you're not going to see an instant transformation. It's nice to know that every week you're gaining a certain amount of muscle thereabouts. It just helps. Like, it's realistic. It's realistic. And so if you're doing this without steroids, like I did, my whole journey with no steroids whatsoever, you need to have a realistic understanding of how much muscle you can build without steroids. In this video, we're going to talk about that. Now, um, Lyle McDonald is a guy, he's a health and fitness researcher. He's looked at thousands of people over the years and years of his experience, of his career, and he's found that people that have great physiques, that can get really, really lean and build muscle without steroids, he's found that there seems to be a certain amount of muscle that these people can build from 1 year to year two, right through to 4+ years of consistent training. And so he's put this together. By the way, bodyrecomposition.com is his website. Go and check him out. He's got books. I've read them all twice. And he talks about things like how much muscle you should expect to gain in your first year of proper training. Excuse me. When I say proper training, I mean protein nice and high, calorie surplus, lifting heavy weights. That's proper training. So, in your first year of proper training, you should expect, as a guy watching this, between 20 to 25 pounds of muscle gain for the first 12 months. And then after that, it's going to halve by about 50%. So it's going to be 20, 25 pounds in your first year. In your second year, it's going to be about 10 pounds. In your third year, it's going to be about 5 pounds. And in your fourth year, don't even bother calculating it. But in your fourth year, it's going to be like 1, 2, or 3 pounds, if that. It's going to be very hard to measure. If you're dialed in with your training and your nutrition, as I talk about in this course with the training, then muscle growth is going to slow down dramatically, even if you're doing everything right. You know, if you're watching this and you've been training for a long time already, but you've been doing things out of magazines like I was, then you start applying what I teach in this course, then you're classified as someone who's a beginner and someone that's doing year one of proper training. Now, the key word on your screen, if you have a look here, is proper training. Like, I'm not talking about 1 year of just like doing random stuff in the gym, 1 year of just like random reps, random sets, random weight, random nutrition, random protein. I'm talking 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4+ years of correct dieting, of correct training, of being consistent, of being consistent, of being consistent. Minimum 3 days per week of training, protein high. I know I'm repeating myself, but this is important. Important. And if you're a lady watching this, these numbers are going to be half. So for a woman watching this, proper training, first year, 10 pounds, second year, 5 pounds, third year, 3 pounds, fourth year, 2 pounds, or 1 pound or less than that. It's going to be about half that of a guy. So, and the reason is testosterone, yeah? Women have about 1/16 the amount of testosterone that a male has. A natural woman versus a natural man. No steroids, yeah? So that's pretty realistic. Now, if you break that down further, that's going to be about 2 pounds of muscle per month, remember, up to 2 pounds. Be conservative. Call it £20 in your first 12 months, right? Don't call it £25. We want to be optimistic, but we want to be realistic as well. So it's going to be about £2, no more than that, every month, which is about, if you break that down, you can work it out how much muscle you can build on a week-to-week basis. The next one I want to talk about, and the last one I'm going to talk about, is Alan Aragon's model for building muscle as a natural person, no steroids. He uses percentage of total body weight, right? So this is how much muscle you can expect to gain. By the way, he uses categories: beginner, intermediate, advanced. If you're thinking, am I beginner, am I intermediate, am I advanced? Okay, as I mentioned before, beginners, like if you just start lifting correctly, after years and years of doing everything wrong, not being consistent with your training, not being consistent with your protein, then you're going to be classified as a beginner. Like, like I did training for like 7 years or 6 years or something like that, and then I figured it out, and then I became a beginner, right? First 12 months, first 6 to 12 months of lifting. So expect up to 1.5% muscle gain based on your total body weight. If you're not sure what that means, I'm going to give a little calculator thing going here. So, for example, if I'm 200 pounds, I'm about 200 pounds, and I multiply that by, call it 1%, excuse me. So I know I don't need a calculator, but I'm just showing this to you just to really emphasize the point. So 200 pounds and 1%, I'm being really conservative here. I'm doing everything right. I'm doing everything that I'm telling you people to do out there, like 2. And then what I do is I multiply that by, so I get 2 multiplied by 12 months, because I'm going to be training for the first 12 months as a beginner, 24. So in other words, in the first 12 months of my training, doing everything right, I should expect to gain 24 pounds of muscle in the first 12 months. And then as an intermediate, which is going to be like year 2, year 2.5, and then advanced, which is going to be like 3, 4, 5 years, it's going to be, as you can see, it's going to be about half, 1 to 1.5%, down to 0.5%, down to 0.25%, right? So yeah, just use your total body weight. So use your total body weight. If you're 150 pounds, in your first year of proper weightlifting, proper dieting, and everything else, being super conservative at 1% equals 150. And then, sorry, I made a mistake. Multiplied by 1%, 1.5 multiplied by 12. I can't even use a calculator. Multiplied by 12 is 18. So in your first 12 months, based on being 150 pounds, you should expect to gain 18 pounds of muscle in your first 12 months. And if you're a lady watching this, you're going to put in your own weight, and it's going to be, you get the idea, right? You put in your own weight, do exactly what I talked about, and then you're going to divide it by 2. So if you're 160 pounds as a woman, then it's going to be 18 divided by 2. Yeah, and that's how much muscle you should expect to build in your first year, and then you divide it by 2 again for your second year and your third year, and so on and so forth. So I wish I had this when I first started my training. I wish. Now that you have this, it'll give you a very accurate, realistic expectation for what doing all this training will lead to in terms of how much muscle you can build. Now, of course, it's important to be consistent. If you are not consistent with those things I talked about in the previous video about the 3 steps, calorie surplus, protein, I know I'm like repeating myself here. Some people don't like that, but if I'm repeating myself, it's for good reason. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, brad@bradnewton.tv, and I'll see you in another video.